So I'm having a chat with Tim Commerford. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thanks so much. So the big news is we've started to play a new single of yours called Seven. Well, your 7070, but the track is called Insignia. Tell us about the single.
It's a most of the songs that we've released so far were written during, like a lot of people say during COVID-19, when I was on lockdown and this song is about, I've been getting like as a taxpayer, the amount of money that I pay to the military in America, it's astounding.
Mm.
It's upsetting. And that the song Insignia is sort of about what's happening. Like the majority of the money that I spend for taxes in America goes, believe it or not, to the South China Sea. And that trips me out because
Mm.
that's not even on the news. They don't even talk about the fact that there's more boats in the South China Sea than there were at D-Day
Mm.
right now. And it's like it's not even being discussed. And most of my tax money goes there. So that's what the song is about. It's about a boat. Like I always tell people, it's about a sailing trip to the South China Sea.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. And is this now the start of more new music to come?
I mean, we've released quite a few.
Mm.
We're going to continue to release songs. The last song we released was a song called Ouchie, which is also like on YouTube, and it's just live in our rehearsal room. And we're a live band. That's
Yeah.
what we are. We're not a recording band, and I don't think any of our recordings really capture what we really are. And we're a live band. And so that latest recording, Ouchie, we put out is a live recording. And I after we did that, it was just an iPhone in our room, and we have equipment to record the sound, but just one iPhone filming what's happening. And I think that's how I'm going to start releasing all the material live because every time we play the song, it's a little different. It's not the same.
Mm.
And I just think that's the best way to like appreciate who we are is live.
Was it the plan to do that when you formed a couple of years ago, or is it just how the band's turned out?
Yeah, I mean, the first few songs that we recorded, and even Insignia for that matter, the way that we write songs is Matthias and I, the drummer and I, we write the arrangements and the vocal melody, the lyrics and the backing vocal, and then we hand it to Johnny and let him do what he wants. And we sort of, I gave him, I said, do whatever you want. And so he did. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He can play piano on the same level as he plays guitar. And he's able to play keys and piano and doubling guitars and singing vocals. And our songs are more of that. Like the initial inception of the music is more layered like that. And that's not who we are. We're a three piece. We got three guys. We have a lot of harmonies and they all get, Johnny's able to play guitar solos and sing harmonies. I don't know how he does that, but he can. And we are that band. We're a trio that has a lot going on. We don't play riffs and we just play woven music.
Yeah, yeah, nice. And you've touched on the writing. I'd like to talk a little bit more about it. How do tracks normally start off for you guys?
Well, that's like I said, they start with a drum beat. Matthias is a very, very, I believe, a signature drummer. He has a
Mm.
unique style that I've not heard before. And that's what always is at the core of the music is the drum beat. And so we write the music to the drum beat. And I'm inspired by the drum beat. And so I write the songs just with Matthias and from front to back. And then we just hand them off to Johnny and just say, do whatever you want. And now, the initial comments to Johnny was, do whatever you want, play anything you want.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of like, okay, dude, you're a guitar player and we're a three piece. So play the guitar,
Mm.
and that's where we're at. And that's what it's sort of over 3 years of writing songs with Johnny. We've written so many songs. And over that time, we've just settled into who we are. And I really believe that like only in the last few months have we like really gotten to who we really are. And I believe that the better we get, the more punk we become, you
Mm.
know? And I
Yeah.
love punk. I love punk music that's not following rules, you know?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And tell us about the lyrics as well. How easy do you find it to create the lyrics to the music that's written?
I mean, it's like I'm addicted to the world that we live in geopolitically, and there's always things that I'm thinking about. And so lyrics are very like I almost feel like, we this band really means nothing. We're not a big band or anything like that, but and so our music, the lyrically, I don't have a hard time with it. Long story short, I don't have a hard time with lyrics. I feel like I have a lot of things running through my head, and I'm a musician, so melodies sort of accompany those thoughts, and it comes out. It's pretty easy. And like when I'm playing bass, I here at my place, I'm singing and playing all the time and trying to like make those two things work together. And I just continue to get better and better at it. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm I don't look at it as hard. I look at it as I'm very excited to just be able to have an opportunity to be in a band and play anywhere, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's it like writing music for yourself, where you're kind of one of the main focal writers compared to what you've done in the past, and kind of being kind of second in the writing?
Yeah, like a bass player. I mean, I'm not, we've, in every band I've ever been in, Rage, Audioslave, is like we all write. So it's
Mm.
not like I'm second to anyone, you know, and we all are equal and we all write, and that's how it works. But in this band, it is, it's sort of an embracement of like throughout my life. I always felt like the bass guitar was not enough to back a song and not
Mm.
enough to build a song on. And that's the way as a bass player, I sort of looked at it, and like from American football, it's sort of like I'm a lineman, I'm a blocker, I'm blocking to create holes for people to run through. And that's the way I've always looked at the instrument, as a very like lonely instrument. But again, when you sing and you're playing it, the two together create like quite a beautiful like thing. And the two note chords that get created are like integral to the song. And so I enjoy like that when I hear those chords, and then the song just sort of writes itself. That's how I do it, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you've been a part of a number of bands. You've mentioned Rage, you've mentioned Audioslave, but Whack Rat as well, and Future User. When you created 7070, what was going through your head about trying to make it sound not the same as what you've done before?
I mean, I really didn't go into it with that. I mean, I knew that I have this attitude about riffs. Like I've heard enough riffs. I'm done with it. And like it's not that I'm against it, but I believe that a riff should be something special. If a guitar player and a bass player are going to play the exact same part together, it better be something awesome,
Mm.
you know? And so again, Johnny and I, we don't do any riffs. It's crazy because Johnny's tuned in standard E tuning and I'm tuned in E flat. So our open notes aren't the same. So
Yeah.
they make noise when we play the same open note. And you'd be surprised that open note the open notes in rock and roll are key. Like when the bass player and the guitar player go to the same open note, it creates this sound that we're all used to.
Yeah.
And we don't have that sound. Like Johnny and I are not tuned in the same tuning. We're tuned in like noise. Like if we're a half step apart. So it's very noisy if we play the same open notes. And that's created
Mm.
something with what we do, and talking to Johnny, he was like, wow, it's crazy because there's other notes that are now open notes for me that normally wouldn't be, obviously. And like it's created a whole, like get so much of guitar and bass is just muscle memory, and so when you mess with the tuning like that, you mess with the muscle memory, and you have to like figure out new ways of doing things. And I believe that comes out in our music. It's weird music, man. I'm
Yeah.
really proud of it. It's
Good.
different. It's
Yeah, it
like it
is.
draws from everything that I've ever listened to. And again, Johnny Polanski, it's admitting, it's worth saying that he's the I've never ever been around, of all the people in my life musically that I've been around, I've never been around anyone that can play like him, and that can play. He knows every song, and like from Coltrane to Radiohead,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you, every song on the guitar and on the piano. And so it's like, whoa, it's humbling. I'm not that kind of a player. I can't do that. I'm not a jukebox like that. I have to, like, even if I'm going to play songs that I've written, I have to relearn them. I can't just like pull them out of my memory and just play them, and he can do that with any song. And he's the type of person that, like, you talk to, and that's all he does is play guitar. He doesn't have any, he just is a guitar player. And so when he has his guitar in his hand and you're talking to him, inevitably you might say like something that's like the name of some song in your sentence that you're saying, and he'll start playing it immediately. And it's like really crazy. And so I don't know. I mean, I feel like our music is unique due to how talented he is and how unique of a drummer Matthias is. And I'm just trying to tap into that craziness to make music.
Yeah. And what made you kind of all work together as well? Because you've worked with Matthias before, but what made you bring Johnny into the
Mhm.
fold?
I mean, I've worked with Johnny before. Me and Brad played with Johnny in a little project we had called Big Nose. And I learned how good Johnny was years ago when we
Mm.
did that. That was while we were in Audioslave. And Johnny was like he had been signed by Rick Rubin when he was 15 years old, and that kind of thing. And so he was involved in Rick Rubin. And so when we worked with Rick with Audioslave, Johnny came along to like tune guitars and stuff, and he was there. And so that's how I met him. And he's very, like, he was around us as we were writing music. And one time we went to lunch, and I always tell the same story, but it's worth telling again. It's like we came back into the studio, and we had gone away when we were in Audio Slave, came back in, we're gone for an hour or something. And he was on the piano, Johnny, playing like the whole song that we were working on, like the concerto version of it with like and Cornell was like, I can't have that guy in the room. Like that's how that went
Wow.
down. And so he got like banished from the room. But for me, it was like, whoa, like I'd never seen anyone do anything like that
Mm.
before. That was amazing to me. And so now here I am, and we haven't even embarked on the piano aspect of our music, but like, believe it, we have a couple songs right now that are ready to go that don't have guitar, that I've been tempted to just go, dude, just play piano on this one.
I
No
think
guitar.
I
We're a
look
three
forward to
piece.
that. I think piano would provide another dimension to your music.
I I think it would too, and I'm very excited for that.
I'm
That's
intrigued.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Touring, you've got a tour coming up
Yeah.
just a couple of weeks' time across Europe, and you've got a date over here in London as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. This is we're again we're just a brand new band in my
Mm.
opinion. And so we're earning fans. We're going out there and playing, and we've only played 3 shows. We have a show coming up next week. It'll be our 4th show, and I've not seen anyone leave. That's the truth of it.
Good.
I've only seen people stay and more people come. I have not seen people leave while we play. And to me, that's a really good
Mm.
sign. I remember when Rage played at Al's Bar in Hollywood, this little shithole, and there was like very few people there, but
Yeah,
no one left. And there might have been
it's a good
7
thing.
people there when we began, and there was 30 people there when we ended. And it's feeling like we're keeping people in the room. And I love that.
Good, good, great stuff. And you've been playing music for quite a while now. How have you, as an artist, evolved over the years?
Um, I mean, obviously now here I am in a band singing and playing and trying to get better in that way. I mean, that's an evolution in itself. But I'm always evolving because I'm always listening to music and I'm always challenging myself, and I'm not content with resting. And this band is proof of that. This is not Rage. It's not Audioslave. It
Mm.
doesn't have anything to do with either one of those bands. It's a completely unique thing. And that's a sign of me, trying to become a better player.
Yeah, most definitely. And we touched on the numerous bands you've been a part of. Obviously, you're in a break again, especially with Rage. Do you think any of your other projects might make a comeback at some point in the future?
I don't know, man. I don't ever try to project the future. I
Yeah.
live in the moment, and like I said, at this moment in time, it's like I'm in a band that I love right now, and the better we get, the more punk we sound, and that's all I want to do is be in a punk rock band.
Mm. Yeah, for
That's all I
sure.
care about. Like
Yeah.
to be in a band, be able to say, with your lyrics whatever you want, and have it go out to the world and it stays there forever. I like that.
Mm.
I like that. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. Like instead of how I would feel right now as an American if I like am I going and protesting, am I at the anti-war protests that really don't exist here in America, but I'm not at them. So I'm not, like, if it weren't for this band, I don't feel like I would be doing anything. And like people sometimes ask me, I get pretty worked up over politics, and then people go, well, what can you do? How can you do anything? And for me, it's just you spread the word. I don't care if it's one person or whether you're putting lyrics in a song or something, that like
Mm.
just to try to spread the word. And that's my focus, is like just having an avenue to be able to like play the kind of music I like and say the things I want to say, and hopefully be able to do that
Yeah.
as an old man. Like I see this band, for me, I'm better suited for this band as an older dude. I just am. This is, and that's the beautiful thing about music, is that you get older, you get better. It's not
Yeah.
like sports where you get older and you have to hang it up. Like music is a beautiful thing. So I'm looking forward to my best self here in the coming years.
Yeah. And finally, I think you've kind of semi-answered this question already with the people not leaving the gigs story that you just told us. But at the time when you were putting together Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave as well, did you realize when you were putting these bands together that it was gonna get as big as they were gonna be?
Um, no, and I don't. I'm not that guy. I never really thought about. I just want to play music, man. I love recording songs and playing songs. I'm not thinking about like stardom. I'm not
Mm.
on my bed with a tennis racket practicing my guitar moves or anything like that. That's not me. I'm this guy that just sits there and like plays bass, and
Mm.
the bass is something that I've just been. It's with me all the time, and that's it. So I always tell people that too. Like kids will come up to me and like, "Do you have any advice and stuff?" And it's like, yeah, don't ever think about being successful. Don't ever think about making money. Don't ever think about any of
Yeah.
that, because that is the kiss of death.
Yeah.
It is like
Yeah.
you're putting the cart before the horse there. And so, so far so good. Here I am. I'm 56 and I'm feeling good. I have cancer and I'm no longer crying about it. That's a huge thing for me. And to couple that with like being in a band and being proud of it and challenging myself, and I feel like my life is full right now and I like it.
Yeah. Nice. How are
Yeah.
you with the cancer?
I mean, I have it. Like, it's one of those things. And people sometimes ask, is it gone? And it's like,
Mm.
cancer, I don't care if you have skin cancer or prostate cancer or lung cancer, whatever. And let's say you get treatment and it goes into remission. You're not ever going to be saying, cool, it's gone. I'm not going to get it. You're always going to have it. It's a dark passenger that you carry with you and you worry about, and you have to get checkups and these sort of things. So it's always there. And like I said, there was about a 2 year period where like I wouldn't have been able to do this interview a few years ago because I would have just gotten too emotional.
Mm.
Like you would have asked me about cancer and I would have started crying. And that was the hardest thing. That was harder than any of the treatment or anything. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa, am I going to be like crying now everywhere I go? Is that going to be the way it is? And somewhere along the line, because I stay in shape, I'm proud of that, and I do a lot of exercising, and I'm staying in really good shape, I think. And for a 56-year-old dude, I feel like I'm in really good shape. For a dude with cancer,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in really good shape. And so those two things really have empowered me, and and it's like when you hurt your arm, I used to know this guy that like I have a cadaver hamstring tendon in my shoulder. So I got surgery on my shoulder one time, and the doctor was like, your shoulder's going to be like 75% as strong, your left shoulder as your right shoulder. And this man that I knew, he's this old guy, and he's like, well, so you can work it out 200% more than you would have, and it's still going to be 125% stronger than it would have been.
Mm.
And so that's how I live my life, and so here I am with cancer, and I'm out just challenging myself physically and artistically, and it's empowered me. Those things, to
Yeah.
be able to have cancer and do these things, is something that I'm proud of. And so I've turned this really negative thing that made me cry into something that I'm actually proud of who I am and what I'm doing right now with it. Is it going to make me live longer, cancer? I don't think so, but I'm going to get 200% stronger and
Good.
see.
Good for
Yeah.
you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Tim, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Right on. It's good talking to you.